Hello and welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave. So I talked about a bunch of different upcoming kits we're going to be getting soon in the last live stream I did, and then I dumped all the pictures on you in another Gunpla News video. So tonight, since I haven't left much to talk about here, I'm going to talk about the two most recent animated installments in the Universal Century. So Gundam Thunderbolt's second season, the first episode just dropped, and I watched it, and it is pretty cool. Now, it is just the first episode of the second season, so it hasn't really picked up at all. It's still going kind of slow. It's mostly just introducing characters, kind of introducing the new setting here on Earth, showing a little bit of what happened to some of the characters after the events of Season 1. And what I found most notable is that the extra footage they had, that last couple minutes of the Battle of Abo at the end of December Sky, was actually just the first couple minutes of Season 2. So it wasn't really bonus animation so much as it was a preview of the second season. But regardless, I did find it to be pretty enjoyable. And according to a friend of mine, apparently they really cut down that first section from the manga, because apparently the Atlas Gundam is actually not supposed to show up until a bit later in the story, and apparently there's actually quite a bit that was supposed to be between those opening scenes and the introduction of the Atlas Gundam. Although I cannot confirm this, as I have not read that far into the manga. While it might not be a complete adaptation of Thunderbolt, it is still proving to be pretty entertaining, and since it is up on Gundam Info for free right here on YouTube, there's really no reason you shouldn't check it out. It's pretty cool. And following right up on that, we also got our first trailer for Twilight Axis, which is in fact the next animated UC project, and it looks pretty good. The animation is, I'd say, up to the same level of quality that we saw with Thunderbolt, which is great. And that's about all I can say about it, because all we see are just some very, very brief glimpses and flashes of things like cities and beam shots, and we see a couple close-ups on some mobile suit faces. We see the Gundam Tristan, we see the Zaku 3, and we also see this new variant of the Beyerlant. Beyerlant Isold, apparently it is called. And we haven't seen much of it yet. All you really see is just a really close-up on its face. And will we be getting a model of this new Beyerlant? I don't know. However, I have noticed something worrying about the Twilight Axis models we've seen so far. So far we've had two confirmed, the Gundam Tristan and the Zaku 3. Now the Gundam Tristan is a mass retail release in the HGUC line, and it looks good enough from a distance, but you look closer and there is a lot on this that is reused from the 2004 HGUC Gundam Alex. And if you're not familiar with the Gundam Alex, it is not that great of a kit, unfortunately. And it seems really odd of them to make the lead Gundam of their next animated project a retool of a kit that's over 10 years old. And furthermore, the only other kit we've had confirmation of so far is the Zaku 3, which is featured in the trailer. It seems to be a pretty important suit to the show, although that will be something we'll have to see as time goes on. But anyways, that too is just a straight up repaint with a couple new pieces on the back and the gun of the Zaku 3 Custom from the HGUC line. The very, very early HGUC line. In fact, it was pretty much the third or fourth kit they ever made. And on top of that, it is a premium Bandai model. So the two kits we have confirmed for the next animated Gundam project are both retools of really old kits, and one of them is premium Bandai. So what that tells me is that Bandai has very little confidence in the success of this series, and is more or less treating it as some kind of little throwaway filler thing. Which, quite frankly, is kind of surprising me, since they usually put a lot of effort into marketing and also just the general quality of their UC projects. So it seems kind of weird that they'd suddenly decide to skimp on the merchandise for this one. Especially since if they made a new mold for the Tristan, that would be a great excuse to release a high-grade revive Gundam NT1 Alex. But since the Tristan is using the old Alex mold, it looks like that won't be happening. Regardless, I am still looking forward to the animated Twilight Axis series, as I'm sure it will be pretty darn cool, even if the kits aren't. And on the subject of premium Bandai models that I briefly mentioned last time, we also have an image or two now of the armor set for the Trans Am Riser Perfect Grade. So as you can see, it looks like they have two different sets of armor here. One is kind of a full translucent armor set, while the other has more of a kind of gloss injection look to it. I'm personally more of a fan of the one on the left, although the one on the right, the clear one, does look pretty cool. And they even went and drew up a special logo for the 10th anniversary of Gundam 00. Of course, this leads to the question of, will they make more 10th anniversary products for Gundam 00? And I'm thinking probably not, just because we don't tend to get a lot of anniversary merch for series that aren't either early Universal Century or Gundam Seed. So while it would be great if they could follow this up with some other stuff, I am not expecting a whole heck of a lot. But back to the subject of the Trans Am Riser armor set, it does also appear to be coming with a recolor in translucent plastic of the stand that was released as a first release bonus for the Perfect Grade 00 Riser, which is great because that's a second chance to get your hands on that. Very, very important stand, because I think one of the stupidest marketing decisions Bandai's ever done was make the Perfect Grade 00 Riser stand a first release bonus, because that thing needs to be on the stand always. And if you weren't able to get one of the first release ones, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to get that thing to stand. So it really did suck that they made what is really an essential part of the kit so hard to get. But fortunately, while an expensive option, this does give you at least some option to get a hold of that rather necessary stand if you want one for your 00 Riser. And unfortunately, we still don't have official images for the third premium Bandai item that I did mention last time, which was the Origin TriStar Zaku 1, which is a really, really odd choice for a premium Bandai model, because the TriStars aren't exactly all that obscure, and I don't really see why they wouldn't sell at retail. I mean, they were able to make two versions of the High Mobility Type Zaku 2 in the TriStars colors, and those sold pretty well. Certainly not as well as Char's Zaku 2, but they still seem to do pretty well for themselves. And I mean, if we can get stuff like Char's Zaku 1 S-Type at retail, even though that's just a slight modification of Char's normal Zaku 2, or Zaku 1 rather, I don't think it should really be out of the question for us to get the TriStar Zaku 1. And of course, this makes it especially inconvenient if you're one of those people who wants to have all three of the TriStars, because you're going to have to buy three of what will most likely end up to being $40 to $50 kits, assuming you live outside of Japan. So yeah, kind of crappy. But really, other than that, there's not much else to talk about, so on to the build. And to start that build, we're going to apply a polycap to this piece right here, and then close it off. Then we're going to take this blue piece and this orange piece and slide them into each other, just like that, and then put another red piece in the bottom, and then stick those two assemblies one in front of the other together, just like that. Then we're going to take this piece and clip it down over the top. Going to clip this little connector onto this piece of skirt frame, then attach this, and this. And interestingly enough, there are actually a few little details on this inner flap that are covered up once you attach the outer armor. And then you make one of those for the other side and attach them both to the waist assembly. Now next we're going to take this plate and attach some armor on top. Now we're going to take these two pieces and clip them together. Hook this piece over them and clip that onto the back skirt. Then you can just take the two halves of the beam sabers, clip them together. Wow, that's a tight connection. And then you can just stick those beam sabers right onto that holster we just built, and that goes right onto the back. And in a first for me, this is a master grade with no back skirt articulation whatsoever. And then this plate just kind of clips over the top to give it some color. And then for the side skirts, you just clip these two pieces onto each other, and then clip this over the both of them. And then that just naturally plugs over the little ball sockets on the sides of the skirt armor, waist holder, section unit, and there you go. There's all his waist armor with his immovable back skirt. And the sniper is that much closer to completion. Now to build the backpack, we're going to put this piece onto here, and then slide this over that. Build the same thing for the other side, and now we're going to attach them both onto this piece right here. Then this little orange part gets dropped into the thruster, which can be surprisingly hard to line up. And you do that twice. Then you stick both of those thrusters onto here, and you attach that whole assembly onto the backpack. Then this shroud goes over the top, and it should all just lock right in. Just like that. Now lastly, there's just one more piece that goes over here like that, and that is the completed and very detailed, very nice looking backpack. And because I got a bit of a late start today, this is unfortunately all I will be able to complete tonight. But hopefully I will be able to build the rest of this guy tomorrow. But this is all the time we have for tonight, so we must bring this to an end. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you're new to Channel 2S, I do all sorts of Gunpla related videos, from news to reviews to unboxings to builds, and sometimes even combinations of those things. So if that sounds cool to you, be sure to hit the subscribe button right about now. And after you've hit that subscribe button, make sure you also click that notification bell so you'll be alerted the next time I decide to do a live stream. And as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time.